Alright, I'm making this video for everybody who needs help wrapping. It's rare to see presents anymore wrapped the old school way, like they used to do it back in my mom's years. So, in my day, you had to wrap the right way or you'd get in trouble. So, I'm going to show you how to wrap nicely. And I know a lot of people, guys specifically, that spend a lot of money on gifts, and then they wrap it in a ball of wrapping paper, which isn't that cute. Doesn't take a lot of effort if you're wrapping to make them super pretty. Everybody sees these fancy gifts and they think it is just super difficult to do it, and it's not. And I'm going to show you. So this, I probably overcut on the ends a little too much, but it's got the little squares, so you don't have to cut these ends, so it makes it nice and even. Fold it over, kind of make sure it's straight. On longer gifts, put 2 pieces of tape so it holds both ends. Shorter gifts, sometimes you only need 1. Just depends how big it is. Once you have it taped on, you can kind of pull it back before bringing this over. And this kind of evens up. It's right there along the edge. It's nice to have it right there along the edge because it's a little less noticeable. My mom would have chosen me to back this all the way up till about right there because it was a waste of paper. But because I'm just going to waste it by cutting it off, I'm just going to go ahead and fold it over. Furthermore, if you got something, a really colorful package and you're using really light colored paper, that little secondary layer helps hide it. So on the outside, I typically put 3 pieces of tape just so I know it holds really good. You know, I don't know a mom that doesn't buy 6 rolls of tapes before she starts wrapping. I shop early, so most of my Christmas shopping is done. I'm a brick seeker, so I spend a whole lot less on Christmas by doing it. Here, what you want to do is you want to bring this end down and you want to pull it tight so that it makes, you know, and holds that piece. And you're going to flip it over and you're going to do the same thing, and you're going to do it on both ends. So just bring that paper down, make sure it's nice and mushed from that top piece, and then pull it down. Same thing on both ends. Flip it. Then you want to bring it back to the side. Bring this back up. Make sure it's facing up. Down here, it's already kind of been taped down for you, but just bring your finger in, hold it, make a nice crease. Hold it, make a nice crease. Same thing up here. I just bring my fingers. Now because I overcut on the ends, really you only want to have the paper about this high. So, because I overcut, I've got all this extra overlap. And you don't want that on there because it'll make your ends look really chunky. So, come down to where you know you got some space to hook the tape to the box. Give it a nice little crease, and you got a line. Take your scissors, cut it off. I don't think that's a straight line, but oh well. Anyway, pull that down tight. Touch the paper, touch the box with the tape. Then, this is gonna look crisp and clean. So, just give it some oomph, pull it down. Okay. Then, with this piece here, usually you can fold it over. However, because I'm about, you know, yay high too much, I'm gonna cut that off. So now it's that thing. Then you want to fold that over. Push it down relatively tight. I mean, it's as long as you're using paper, wrapping paper, then you're good. Foil, you can make it look like this, but it takes a lot of patience because that stuff is slippery, doesn't like to fold, don't like to have creases, nothing. This one, however, then got a nice clean. So then you turn it around, you do the same thing to the other side. And you might think this takes forever, but it really doesn't. Especially when you get quick at it. And if you have good paper. I got all my paper on clearance at Walmart for 75% off last year. I got boxes and ribbon and all kinds of stuff. I probably only spent 10 bucks. And another little helpful tip is when you have several kids, using a different wrapping paper. And it saves yourself from having to tag your gifts. Like, you can put them under the tree, untagged, and once a kid knows what their wrapping paper is, shoot, they know which gifts are theirs. You ain't got to tell them twice. They just go and rip them open. My girls could tell every time they came out whose presents were whose. They knew SpongeBob was their little sister. And so they would pass out the gifts. See, that is so nice right there. Make sure you rub in your tape too. If you're using foil, that tape don't like to stick all the time. You see, now you have a very clean wrapped present. And so if you just take these and you put them in bags, stack them up like I'm doing with this. My son, my daughter, my other daughter, they all have their own wrapping paper. And my husband's is snowflakes. So I don't have to tag any of my gifts. I know who they belong to. As well as making a list before you start wrapping. That's another really, really good tip. Before you start wrapping, especially if you're like me and you like to get way ahead of things, this way you can actually sit down and enjoy Christmas, or cook and bake and do all those things that, you know, we like to do. These big chunky gifts, they usually take a lot of paper. But make a list. I have a list. I get a notebook. I am using, right now I'm using my economics notebook because my kids are not going to look in one of my school notebooks for where I have listed their gifts. Because I tend to get quite a bit. Anyway. So I make a list of who's, and as I wrap it, I go through and I check it off the list, and then I know what's in these already wrapped gifts. This one, we're going to bring it up, try to measure it a little bit. Oh, my nails are going through the wrapping paper. Fabulous. So I'm going to pull this a little bit longer, because I just put my fingernail through it. So I need to cover that up. That will be my bottom layer. Anyway, making a list, keeping it. So I know people with a lot of kids always try to make sure that each kid has a equal amount of gifts, and the list helps. You know, if you forget something or your husband gets something and doesn't tell you, whatever the case may be, if you guys are running off the same list, you don't have to worry about it. I keep my husband's list somewhere else, which this time it's my history folder because he ain't going near none of my schoolwork either, so I chose the history notebook, and I usually just do it on the back couple of pages. I keep track of everybody's stuff so I know when it comes time that I have everything I need and I don't have to worry about it. This is a big chunky robot. My son loves robots, so ugh, that tape does not look great. But I got such a big thick roll of this plaid for super cheap that all of his gifts will be plaid. Now these boxes, because they're more square, you can do the ends like I showed you on the gift boxes, in which I want to note, if you have clothes, put them in a gift box. Clothes do not wrap pretty. If you have something like a toy that isn't exactly in a box and part of it shows and you can touch it and you put it in paper, the moment they go, they're going to push right through that paper and they're going to break it open. So always put things like that in a box. It takes 2 seconds and it's a lot easier to wrap. Now, because there's a lot of paper on this end, but let's see about this end. This end's better. Okay, so there's a lot of paper on that end. I'm going to have to cut it down. This end here, you can put it down like this. Take one piece of tape, cutting it a little close down here. But right there, I can get the box, both sides, and down. Then you want to bring your finger to the corner of the box. Slide the finger down. Same thing with this side. Slide the finger down. This is also a very cute way to wrap the end of a box. Then you're going to bring this corner over. You want to pull it tight to the bottom. A lot of people don't put tape here, but again, I like my ends to look really clean and nice. And so because I know this is taped down, then I can tape this to that. And I'm going to do the same with both sides. But because there's a lot of paper, see, it starts to do this, but it's okay, just ignore it. Get your side taped down. And usually you can put right about there, just so you got that clean envelope look. And what you're gonna do is just pull tight, make sure this is pulled over. And by the time you slide it down, it's gonna give you the perfect triangle. A little less tape on the ends, but this is also, there's no folding, there's no extra, there's no nothing. There's a folded envelope end. And it looks pretty decent. You could put a piece of tape probably right here to keep that piece down from moving. But a very clean end. This side, because we can tell we have this much too much, I'm going to put my nail through it. And then I'm going to cut all the way around. And you might think, oh God, what a waste. Waste of time, just mush it. If you mush it, it's not going to look clean. It's not going to look pretty like the other end. And, I mean, no offense to you guys, but I'm not having my gifts look ugly. I was raised to do it the right way, suffer through it. And furthermore, you know, we don't have shops anymore that do this. You can't. I mean, now we do have services out there. I've seen people like last year advertise services that you can bring all your gifts to them and they will wrap them super nice for you. Oops, I forgot a part. They will wrap them super nice for you and they will charge you a fee to do it. I mean, that's all fine if you want to do that. And you're probably going to get something gorgeous because them women know what they're doing. Hopefully, anyway. Make sure you do your research. Ugh, that does not want to stick. But if I rub my nail on it long enough, it will. But we're just doing the same thing we did over there to this side to make it look like a very nice, clean, wrapped gift. There are two different ways to do the ends. Square boxes, I prefer to do it this way because I just think it's so cute. Looks like an envelope. This one is going to come down not so pretty. So you can also press down really hard so you mush it if you have to do a little tiny, tiny fold over on your end to get it to look clean when you pull it up. No big deal. I'm going to pull that sucker up. Keep our ends clean. Stick that piece of tape on there. And as you're sticking the tape on, just give it a nice little pull. Don't pull too hard or you'll pull it right off. But again, this likes to separate over here, so I try to use tiny pieces of tape. But, you know, use whatever you like. Either way, your gift's going to end up... Ooh, I don't like that. Your gift's going to end up having these really cute envelope ends. And you can pretty much do whatever you want to it when it's time. And like I said, once you put them away, you know who they belong to. They're done and out of your way, and you're way ahead of Christmas.